Hello and welcome to this screencast for the Chickasaw Nation Law Library's award class on Finding Case Law. Participants will receive 1 point for watching the screencast and an additional point for completing the exercise at the end of the screencast. So let's start off with some background concepts. There are three branches of government in the United States. On the federal level, we have the executive branch, which includes the President, executive and cabinet departments, and governmental agencies. The executive branch is responsible for enforcing the law. The legislative branch is Congress, which consists of the House of Representatives and the Senate. Congress is responsible for creating the law through statutes. And then we have the judicial branch, which consists of the court system. This includes district courts, courts of appeal, and the Supreme Court. On the state level, the format is similar. The executive branch is the governor's office. The legislative branch is the state legislature, and the judicial branch would include the local courts, courts of appeal, and the state Supreme Courts. So what exactly is case law? Case law encompasses the decisions and opinions by U.S. courts, both federal and state. These decisions then make up the case law for that jurisdiction. Remember that case law is a primary source of law. The weight of authority is also important to know. It's binding authority, or mandatory, in its own jurisdiction, but it's only persuasive authority, if that, in other jurisdictions. For example, if the court in Oklahoma is interpreting a statute that is similar to one in Kansas that a Kansas court has ruled on, that case may be considered persuasive. But because the case is in Kansas and not Oklahoma, in a different jurisdiction, it is not binding or mandatory on any Oklahoma court. So let's talk a little bit about primary versus secondary sources. What exactly is the difference? Primary sources are statements of law by governmental institutions, like the courts, legislature, or administrative agencies. They may be binding or mandatory, or persuasive authority, depending on the jurisdiction. Secondary sources are statements about the law by legal experts. They are never binding authority, but sometimes can be persuasive. A good example of this would be the restatements. The restatements are highly regarded by many jurists, but only persuasive authority and not mandatory. Precedent is a word you'll hear often when cases are discussed. Precedent is a decided case that furnishes a basis for determining later cases that involve similar facts or issues. Stare decisis is the doctrine of precedent, under which a court must follow earlier judicial decisions when the same points arise again in litigation. Published versus unpublished. A published opinion is one that has been designated for official publication in an official reporter. An unpublished opinion is one that the court has specifically designated as not for publication in the official reporters. These are generally considered only binding on the parties involved. In other words, it is not precedent. Many memorandum opinions are unpublished. 1 point to note, West does publish unpublished opinions in the federal appendix. So if you see a citation that lists federal appendix, you'll know that that is an unpublished decision. Now we'll talk about where these cases can be found, which are in the case reporters. So what is a case reporter? Case reporters are publications of case law from a specific jurisdiction or jurisdictions. An official reporter is one published by the issuing jurisdiction, designated by the state legislature as official reporter, or the state court of last resort requires lawyers to cite to that reporter. An unofficial reporter is published by an independent group and is not designated as official. And we do have a LibGuide on reporters where you can seek more information if you have any questions about which is the official reporter and which is the unofficial reporter. So for U.S. Supreme Court reporters, the official publication for U.S. Supreme Court cases is United States Reports, abbreviated as U.S. These are not annotated. Until 1834, the cases were found in nominative reporters. These are reporters named for the court reporter who prepared them. For instance, Dallas or Cranch. You may see those in some of the earlier case law. For online access to Supreme Court cases decided from 1991 going forward, you can find those on supremecourt.gov at that link that is shown. Supreme Court Reports is the unofficial annotated version from Westlaw, Supreme Court Reporter. And Supreme Court Reports Lawyers Edition is the unofficial annotated version from Lexis. So let's take a look at this citation for McNair v. Coffey. McNair v. Coffey is the name of the case. 234, which you can see right there, is the volume number. F.3d tells you what reporter it is from. In this case, it's from the Federal Reporter 3rd. 352 tells you what page it starts on in that reporter. 7th Circuit tells you what court. 2000 is the year in which it was decided. The part that says vacated along with the 533 U.S. 925 from 2001 tells us the subsequent history of that case. Sometimes you might find a pinpoint citation. In the example here, Baker v. Carr, 369 U.S. 186, 217, 1962, the 217 tells you the exact page that is being cited. The case actually begins on page 186 of the U.S. Reports, volume 369. And parallel citations tell you where you can find that case published. In the example here of Worldwide Volkswagen Corporation v. Woodson, you can see the U.S. Report citation, the Supreme Court Reporter citation, and the Supreme Court Reports Lawyers Edition citation. For more information on reading case citations, refer to Blue Book Rule 10.3.1. As you can see from the map, Texas is in the 5th Circuit, along with Louisiana and Mississippi. Here in Oklahoma, we're in the 10th Circuit, along with the federal district courts in Colorado, Kansas, New Mexico, Utah, and Wyoming. So for the federal reporters, the Federal Reporter, which would be Federal Reporter 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, have published opinions from the different circuit courts. The Federal Appendix has selected unpublished circuit court opinions from 2001 through present. Bear in mind the 5th Circuit and 11th Circuit do not submit theirs for publication in the Federal Appendix. And the Federal Supplement, which is FSUP and FSUP 2nd, have published opinions from federal district courts. And here's a map of the regional reporters. Oklahoma, as you can see, is in the Pacific region, while Texas is in the southwestern. Effective January 1st, 2014, the Oklahoma Supreme Court is the official publisher of its own cases and cases from the Oklahoma Court of Civil Appeals. Official versions are on OSCN. Unofficial versions will include the Oklahoma Bar Journal and the Pacific Reporter. So for Oklahoma citation formats, Oklahoma Supreme Court cases, we have an example here of Skinner v. Brahms Ice Cream Store, 1995 OK 11, paragraph 3, 890 P period 2D 922, 924. And that's telling us that the Oklahoma Public Domain format is the 1995 OK 11. The 890 P period 2D 922 is telling you that that is the Pacific Reporter citation. For Oklahoma Court of Civil Appeals cases, we have an example here of Carney v. DirecTV Group, Inc., 2014 OK Civ App 4, 316 P period 3D 234, which tells us that 2014 is the year of the case, and this is going to be the Oklahoma Public Domain format. The OK Civ App 4 is telling you that, and then the P period 3D, that'll be the Pacific Reporter citation. Finally, with the Oklahoma Court of Criminal Appeals cases, Here we have an example of SOTO v. State, 2014 OK CR2, which is the Oklahoma Public Domain format for that case. And then 326 P.3D 526, which is the Pacific Reporter citation for that case. And if you're ever wondering exactly how to find that public domain format, you can locate that on OSCN when you pull up that case. Remember, OSCN is the Oklahoma State Court Network, and that is the official publisher of the cases. So, remembering what we've learned about mandatory and persuasive authority in case reporters, let's take a look at this fact pattern. You are an attorney practicing in Oklahoma and are representing a client who is injured at an Indian casino near Oklahoma City. You have found 9 cases. Which of these are mandatory authority, which are persuasive, and why? So first we have Sheffer v. Buffalo Run Casino, PTE Inc., 2013 OK 77 315 Pacific 3rd 359. So here it's mandatory for Oklahoma. It's from the Oklahoma Supreme Court. Next we have CNL Enterprises Inc. v. Citizen Potawatomi Tribe of Oklahoma, 532 U.S. 411 from 2001. And again, this one is also mandatory. It's a United States Supreme Court case from the U.S. reports. Next we have Dean Hill Country Club Inc. v. City of Knoxville, 379 F.2D 321, 6th Circuit 1967. This is a federal reporter case, but this one is persuasive only because it's from the 6th Circuit and not the 10th Circuit. Next we have Santana v. Muskogee Creek Nation, XREL River Spirit Casino, 508 Federal Appendix 821, 10th Circuit 2013. Federal Appendix means this is a case that was not selected for publication. While the circuit is correct, the Federal Appendix citation shows that it was not meant for precedential use. Then we have Oil Daily Inc. v. Faulkner, 282 F.2D 14 from the 10th Circuit 1960. This is a federal reporter citation, and it's mandatory authority because Oklahoma is in the 10th Circuit. Now we're looking at McCollar v. Euler, 286 Federal 2nd 327, 10th Circuit 1960. And again, it's a federal reporter citation from the 10th Circuit, so it's mandatory authority on all 10th Circuit courts. Next we have Jones v. Polishuk, 252 F. Sup. 752, Eastern District of Tennessee, 1965. This is from the Federal Supplement. This is only persuasive because it's from Tennessee, so it would not be binding authority on an Oklahoma court. Next we have Muhammad v. Comanche Nation Casino, 742 Federal Supplement 2nd, 1268, Western District of Oklahoma, 2010. And this is from the Federal Supplement, but it's from the Western District of Oklahoma. So in Oklahoma City, it would be mandatory authority. And then finally, we have Wyandotte Nation v. Sebelius, 337 F. Sup. 2nd, 1253, from the District of Kansas, 2004. This is from the Federal Supplement, but this is only persuasive because it's from Kansas, so it would not be mandatory authority on an Oklahoma court. So some research strategies to find case law. So there are a variety of ways to find cases, including by citation or party names, secondary sources, annotations, key numbers, headnotes, case digests, index, citators, and advanced keyword searching. So to find by citation, online you can just type in the reporter portion of the citation into the search box. So for example, if you typed in 369 U.S. 186, it's going to go ahead and pull up that particular case. If you're locating it in print, you find that reporter volume and then turn to the initial page of the case, which in 369 U.S. 186 means you would go to volume 369 and then turn to page 186. To find by party, online, it's going to vary by the database. For the most part, for the big three databases, you would just type in the case name, like Skinner v. Brahms. So we do that in Westlaw Next, Lexis Advance, as well as Bloomberg Law. In print, you could use a table of cases for the applicable digest. For secondary sources, if you're trying to find cases through that, keep in mind secondary sources provide a summary of the law in a particular area, and it provides citations to primary sources and other secondary sources. So some examples would be legal encyclopedias like Amjur, legal treatises, restatements, legal periodicals, things of that nature. But remember, you're going to cite to the primary sources. Annotations. So you've heard me talk a little bit about annotations. So annotations with secondary sources, there's a summary of a legal topic with case citations. So examples of that would be American Law Reports, also known as ALR, and legal encyclopedias like Amjur and CJS. Annotated statutes can provide summaries and citations for cases that have interpreted the statute, references to related administrative regulations, and references to applicable secondary sources. And then we have key numbers. And this is a West product, and it's a subject classification system used across all West publications. So there are over 450 topics, and then the topics are divided into subtopics and then assigned a key number. So an example would be 78K1301. So 78 would be the topic number, and then 1301 would be the key number. And then headnotes. Headnotes are the legal issues discussed in a case. They're used to find other cases. There's one headnote typically per legal issue, and it may or may not be a holding in the case. For Lexis, they copy directly from the case. Westlaw Next uses human editors to go ahead and write those headnotes. So here we have an example of headnotes from West. So here we're looking at Baltimore v. OR Co. Baltimore and OR Co. v. US. So you can see the different headnotes, carriers, and over to the right, it's showing the different topics and key numbers. And then here we have Lexis Nexus's headnotes. And again, this is to help you find other cases that deal with that particular point of law. So that brings us to West's case digests. So what exactly is a case digest? It is a collection of headnotes organized by key number. So it'll be the topic as well as the subtopic. They are jurisdictional. So the Supreme Court Digest is going to have cases from the Supreme Court Reporter. The Pacific Digest will have cases from the Pacific Reporter. Oklahoma decisions are in the Oklahoma Digest as well as the Pacific Reporter. We do have a LibGuide, because there's always a LibGuide it seems like, on using the digests. So researching with digests, you can look it up by key number. So that's where you look up the cases with a relevant key number found in one good case or one of those useful annotations you found through a secondary source or an annotated statute. There's a table of cases that's organized by plaintiff and defendant, and that provides key numbers from the case. Descriptive word index is organized by subject, and then a topic and key number is assigned to each subject. There's also the words and phrases index. This is an alphabetical listing of words or phrases that have been judicially defined in the digest cases, and provides headnotes, titles, and citations to those cases. Indexes. Indexes identify legally significant terms, and you can look those up in the index. Descriptive word index is only in print, but keyword searching is the online equivalent. So if you're on Westlaw Next and you do a keyword search, that's basically the same as looking in the print version of the descriptive word index for the digest. And then words and phrases index is going to alphabetically list words or phrases that have been judicially defined, and provides headnotes, titles, and citations to those cases. This is in print and on Westlaw Next in advanced search options. Citators. So there will be a separate screencast on citators, but with citators it can help you locate additional primary and secondary sources. The history of the case will tell you what happened to the cited case, and the treatment of the case tells you how the courts have dealt with the cited case. So for example, can the case be used as precedent? Is it still good law? And we do have a LibGuide on citators to go ahead and walk you through that. There's also advanced keyword searching, which can help you identify case law. So for keywords, you can identify keywords for legal concepts. So causes of action, defenses, peoples, places, things, and try to think of alternatives. So you're going to want to try to find some synonyms. So a good places for that would be a legal thesaurus or a legal dictionary. And then just a little rundown on some of the search mechanics. There are connectors that you can use. There's basic connectors and, or, and not. And then proximity connectors. So /p will show that word in the same paragraph as the next word. /s is that word within the same sentence as the second word. And then the /10 will be within 10 words of each other. And then some other search features. There's the root expander, which typically will be usually an exclamation point. So that way you could do, for instance, taxi, exclamation point, which is going to retrieve taxi, taxidermy, taxis, things like that. Automatic pluralization, and then you can also search phrases. So some of the differences in Westlaw Next: if you type in cat dog, it's going to retrieve either cat or dog. If you do cat dog in quotation marks, it just retrieves cat dog as a phrase. And then for automatic plurals, it shows if you type in cat, it will search cat, cat apostrophe s, cats, and then cats apostrophe. And then if you type in the word cats, it's going to retrieve cats as well as cats apostrophe for the possessive form. On Lexis Advance, you have to type in cat or dog to get cat or dog. And then cat dog equals cat dog as a phrase, just like on Westlaw Next. And then we have basically similar version of the automatic plurals, at least on the singular form. So cat equals cat, the possessive form of cat, cats, and then the possessive form of cats. And then cats, the plural, will retrieve cat, cat apostrophe s, cats, as well as cats apostrophe for the possessive form of that. And then order and priority. With Westlaw Next, it typically will have phrases first, and then or, proximity connectors, and not, while Lexis Advance We'll focus on not and not first, followed by or, then the proximity connectors, and then and. So an example, if you did blind or impair exclamation point within 5 of vision, or you could do blind or and then in parentheses impair exclamation point within 5 of vision. And those will get you 2 different search results. So that is the conclusion of the exercise. The assignment will be on TWEN, listed as Finding Case Law Assignment 2015. You will need to complete this and then turn it in electronically. If you have any questions, please come see me. Thank you.